Oh, that's because I have so many lights on in the house right now.
Dora, Dora, Dora. My
What's
glasses are gross.
Huh? Yeah, I'm live. Can you please turn the lights off?
My mic sounds nice. Check one.
My check 1, 2, uno, dos, tres.
Let me see how many haters actually get in here on a Thursday.
Yeah, let's just see. I mean, I know we won't be able to keep this time, but we can test some things out because once volleyball starts, they told me it's going to be Tuesdays and Thursdays again.
Aw, boo.
Boo! So I mean,
It's
for now, let's at least see what's up.
Thursdays. What are we gonna say? Because I like this feel.
Can you feel
We see
it?
how it feel it.
Can you feel it? Whoa!
I don't
Thank
even
you.
have a notification yet.
I.
That's what's up though.
Why are we
Because
not?
we're gonna see, we're gonna see, we're gonna see, we're gonna see,
It
we're gonna
says
see,
that
we're
we're
gonna see,
live.
we're gonna see, we're gonna see,
We've
we're
been
gonna
live
see,
for like.
we're
There it
gonna
is.
see, we're gonna see. It doesn't tell me on my phone yet.
Oh, because I need to update my. Check to see if you need to update your Twitch.
Well,
Because it didn't show up. I need to update my Twitch.
did the rest of y'all update y'all Twitch? I couldn't even get that out of my mouth correctly. I said Twitch,
Twitch.
and it didn't. There it is. Okay, so mine doesn't need an update. There it is. Okay, so mine doesn't need.
Oh, I hear you.
All right, so y'all get in here. Get in here. Get in here. Get in here. Yeah, do this. It's great. In the meantime,
My purple is not
I'm gonna
showing
go
up.
ahead and say it's not too. I'm
Yeah.
really purple on this side.
I want to be purple too, damn it.
And tell y'all right
God.
now,
Is it
I have a
you?
cold. I have a cold. I am not on any narcotics. So if I am sniffing and sniffling and blowing my nose, that is why. Out of my lovely mug, I have plain tea. It has nothing in it but the tea.
I have water and gyro, gyro. Lamb. I'm eating lamb.
Hero,
I'm eating
gyro.
sheep. They're absolutely delicious.
I am that American that never really learned how to pronounce it right. In the name of what was it? Andre 3000 said in his song Gairos.
Gyros.
Gairos.
Delicious. Anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, why is this doing this? Whatever.
This is good. And it's quite different.
If I
See,
feel like I'm gonna regret this if I. Nope,
I
never
am
mind.
dripping tea everywhere. Did y'all see that?
Hey,
Oh
Black
my
Buddha.
god.
How you doing today?
The blackest of Buddhas.
Is Thursday good for you?
Howdy.
The blackest of Buddhas.
The blackest of Buddhas.
You missed Baby earlier. She almost had to make it on stream. Oh, you were at San Diego Comic Con, you son of a biscuit. I forgot about that.
Oh,
Big
too
jelly.
bad we can't talk to you.
Dude.
I would love the
I
skinny on
forgot.
that.
I totally forgot that's where you are.
That's what's up. I want to be at
Thursday's
Comic
better than
Con.
Friday? Okay, we got that.
I,
That's
I'm,
one vote.
I'm feeling that that's going to be the case because I feel like Fridays are for boozing and partying or being lazy.
Yeah.
However, we'll see how it
Why
goes.
is this doing this today? There it is. Um, yeah, I mean, at least we'll keep Thursday until volleyball comes, and we might actually, what is it, like maybe Wednesday or Tuesday, Monday? I don't know. Start your week
On
off.
Monday.
Well, start your week off with some debauchery. I'm just saying. I don't know.
Uh,
We'll see. We'll move it around. We'll see what people think.
yeah.
Oh, I got a little bit of news today, but y'all keep on trickling in. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. Um, like I said, I'm not on any narcotic. I'm under the weather. And there's a heat advisory across the ass crack of the South.
Jeez. Like it was Hey Spider. It was 88 today, somewhere around there in the Chicago area, with 35 to 55 gusts of wind. I had to pick up my tomato plant about 6 times today. It was absolutely rude.
I'm glad you said that. My plants actually need watering. I haven't done it because, try to water it in the evening times where it's not as hot so it won't evaporate quickly.
Right.
I don't know when that's going to be since sunset actually kicks in like 8:45.
God, we're at 9:30ish around here. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's weird. So, and we haven't even gotten to August yet where it literally will be 9 o'clock before the sun actually goes all the way down. So, which is a staunch change from like the winter when it gets dark like at 3 o'clock. So
Right.
there's that. So mm.
Hey,
Hey girl, hey
girl.
girl, hey girl, hey girl, hey girl, hey girl, get in here, get in here, get in here, get in here.
I
Look at
am
all these beautiful
so
haters.
jelly, but also happy you guys are there.
All you beautiful, beautiful, beautiful haters on a Thursday.
Right before
That is
10 in
great.
Minneapolis.
Who's in Minneapolis?
I think she's talking about the sun.
Right before 10. Yeah, that's see, because I that's
Uncool.
why I said I feel like I wouldn't fare well in places like Alaska, even though I want to go. I do want to experience it, but I don't know how I would feel about perpetual darkness 24 hours a day or perpetual light 24 hours a day because of the position of the earth at a certain time of the year.
You're
Weird.
fucking going to
Weird.
Alaska.
Oh yeah, because it's beautiful. I watched somebody on YouTube
Oh,
take a 8-day trek across Alaska, something I said I wanted to do. And it's stunning. They got to be on a glacier and everything. They got to go to several glaciers, but one of them they got to walk on, fill their water bottle up with glacier water. It was
okay. On a
beautiful.
nature rest thing, yeah, I completely get it.
Yes, I wanted to go. Um, just so I can see. I just want it's there. I want to see it. Um, but I just don't want to. I don't know if I could live there because I am someone who craves the sun and I also require darkness when it's supposed to be dark.
It needs to
So I don't know if
appropriately
I
be
can do it.
nighttime.
Right. Like I just need things to
Okay, now
do the
I'm
way that
pink.
my brain said that it's supposed to do it. There is a faint blush of pink for Barbie that's coming.
Oh yeah, dude. Up here in the north, that seasonal depression will get you. You have to get out of the house during the winter. It is
Well,
super fucking sad and
well, it's
lonely.
funny that I also just learned that there was a whole article and there's a whole slew of people who actually experience seasonal depression in the summertime. So I've always seen it associated with winter, but yeah, there are people who go through seasonal depression in the summer. I thought it was. I'm not gonna call them weird
No,
just
I
because I've
get it.
never heard of it, but you
Um,
know,
it's kind of like you can't go outside in Louisiana if it's past a certain heat. So you do get cabin fever even in the summer. Um, it's depressing to not be able
yeah,
to function outside in that type of heat too. So
yeah, you
I
can't
get it.
you
I
can't
get it.
really do much. Like if you don't have like a pool at your house, or you're not always at the pool, or you
Excuse me.
can't, or you're like me who work from home now, so you're not really out unless you have to be out.
Right.
And then now it's a heat advisory, so they're not advising you to be outside. Yeah, it's like, oh, let me get my old lady crochet
You
things out of the
crochet.
way. It was all in the shot. Let me get that out
That's
the
all
way.
right.
Y'all want to know what I'm making right now? This has nothing to do with what we're talking about today, but no, I'm practicing the linen stitch on a new top.
I
So,
shouldn't even be laughing. I literally have a whole cart full of.
oh,
I'm
I
tempted to show
don't
you
care.
guys my
I don't
cart.
care if
Hold
you
on.
laugh.
Hold on.
Like, I don't
Excuse the
care.
baby shit on the floor. But
Wait.
I have created a whole cart over there, here, just of yarn. Just yarn. Just
My shelves on that side, like you have there, I have 3 baskets stuffed full of yarn, and then there's yarn on the floor, and then there's yarn in the closet, and I got like
I had to put it
hooks
all together.
everywhere.
It was making me lose my mind because it was a little bit of everywhere, and I just was like, I have to put my yarn together.
Right. Black Buddha, I'm assuming you think you're saying interesting to the summer depression, right?
Yeah, I think
Because
so.
it is
You
it
have to
is it was
start
wild. It was
Caribbean. You
wild.
have to start knitting and crocheting with us and being
You have to.
a young granny with us.
Because I have embraced the I've just embraced it. I always said I wanted to learn, and I've been trying to learn since I was a Girl Scout. So I have been trying to learn since I was like 11. I finally learned,
Hey.
and I just can't stop. So
It's like now,
yeah,
oh, it's like, oh, I like nice things. I can make my own nice things now.
I can make my own. I've made several tops. I'm working on a midi pencil skirt right now.
And the
It's gonna
community
be a
is
gorgeous
huge.
color.
Not gonna lie.
Yes.
Yes, United Grannies of America. United Young
Woo!
Grannies of America. All right, let's get to the
Yes,
news.
girl.
I have about like 10-ish minutes. You want to go first for me, or are you gonna hop in the middle?
I'm just gonna hop in the middle because it's not really that. It's not that pressing. It's just keeping tabs on the things that I know about.
Gotcha.
And I didn't write them, so they're just off the top of my head.
I've learned to
Get
start
into
writing
it.
down the news ever since that 30-minute segment that I had last time. All right, so we have some shows. You know, July there was a bunch of shows that came out. But
Okay.
we now have the English cast that is working on the new Pokemon Horizons, where Ash no longer exists in this universe. Or whatever,
Okay.
or he's older, we don't know. The Japanese version came out in April, so we have now the cast for the English version that should be coming out in the next few months. There's that. I'm a Bungo Stray Dogs fan, and I'm very glad that they are back. That came out yesterday, season 5. I have been collecting the manga. Like, y'all, if y'all haven't watched Bungo Stray Dogs, go fuck. Like, watch the English version for the first 3 episodes, then you could switch back, because it's just the English voice acting is very hilarious. I feel like it's one of those where it's like, y'all could stick to what we're technically talking about, but if you want to put your own twist on it, you can.
I started watching that, and then I fell off. I don't ask me why. I just did.
It's an on and
I
off thing.
started. Yeah, I started it, and I said, "Oh, this is actually pretty good." And then I fell off, and then I got sidetracked. Y'all already know. Y'all know how I am. I'll come back to it
Yeah,
eventually.
pretty much. I love Blue Exorcist. There is news of season 3 coming soon. That's all I have for that. They're just like, it's coming. Just wait.
Cool.
Love,
Cool.
love Blue Exorcist. Boruto. Damn. So as y'all know, we hate Boruto immensely here at the I Hate It Here team. We hate everything about the anime, everything about that little shit of a child. The thing is, hold on, fix this camera. The time skip is happening. And the time skip, just like Naruto was Naruto Shippuden, Boruto Next Generations is now going to be called Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. It's going to come out on the 21st, manga. Not the anime yet.
Okay.
We got...
Stuff like stuff I don't care about.
I know. But some people do. I think Spider watches Boruto, so I literally am
Do
here for
you?
you. I think Spider watches Boruto. I be paying attention who is interested in what here. So yes, if you haven't seen the time skip Sarada and how they got this 16-year-old girl, you should go look at it. Hey, Tiny.
I think. What's up, Tiny?
I did see that cheeseburger. It was absolutely outrageous. Where it's just, just say you're
It-
making a grilled
it'll be
cheese.
flagged if we put it up right quick.
What?
So y'all.
The Sarada stuff?
Yeah. Will we get flagged?
I don't know if we'll get flagged.
You can do news and things like that for fair use.
Yeah.
Because
I know, it's just the whole Google thing
I
I'm
don't want
still
you
worried
guys
about.
to show up on a watch. I know for research for today's topic, I am on at least 30 watch lists.
Yeah.
I can say that right now because I had to look up a lot of real sketchy stuff, and yeah, I got explanations for it,
Right.
but I just need.
I posted it.
I just want y'all to see because the first time I saw it was when you posted it the other day.
Right. So
I just need everybody else to be horrified. Go ahead.
yeah, no, that's pretty much it. They dropped the visuals for Boruto and Sarada, and
I was waiting on you to horrify everybody else.
what do you mean?
Like, throw it up there.
I'm scared about Google still, remember?
Don't be scared.
Well, the computer's going to shut down.
Oh,
Remember, if I overload it.
one tab.
We still haven't fixed that technically yet, but
Oh,
we
well,
just had
I will say
identified the
this.
problem.
It's on one of our
Yeah,
posts
it's on every post. It's
that
on
we did.
Instagram. It's on
No, I
Facebook.
know because that's assuming everybody will look at
Hey,
it.
what's up, Super? We're talking about
Super.
the news for Boruto's time skip. We posted a picture of how Sarada looks, and I think they're
Did you
saying she's
see
16.
Time skip Serrata.
Time skip Sarada. If you go to our Instagram or Facebook page, I posted it in the feed, and we are very concerned.
Here's my thing about that, though. Not to get too deep off into news, but they didn't give Sakura that kind of energy.
No,
However,
they didn't. They just
this
stuck.
is a different artist under the
Thank
guidance.
you.
Yeah.
It is. It's very concerning because I think they're saying she's 16 at the time skip, just like Naruto and everybody was. And they're like, here's some neck for you guys.
Now that's interesting because that plays into
very sexed up.
our topic for today in the age of consent. So I'm glad you said that she was 16 because all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
a little rough. We'll get back to
making you feel uncomfortable.
I'm uncomfortable as a mother of two girls, just saying.
Oh, Chad.
Ugh.
Oh, is it sexed up?
It is.
Ooh. She might as well.
She's not sexual though, Spider.
At this point.
It's Spider saying she was sexual, was it? Well, oh no, you're talking about the picture in general. Yes. I know you can't really see much.
It's enough.
A certain amount of darkness makes sense. I get it. Y'all have to understand where Sarada's original what's the word I'm looking for? Her original design in the manga was as a 12, 13-year-old was already bad enough.
They caught slack for that.
Yes.
And they kind of had to do some backpedaling, try to explain why it looks like that, blah, 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 blah. Whatever, the textbook answer of, excuse us, I'm sorry that we put a sexed up 12-year-old on the cover, fictional or not. Because it still makes you feel uncomfortable because, again, it's not implied. That's just her age. This is what I did. I drew this of a 12-year-old. So
yeah, and that's why we haven't been seen.
It was extremely when the window came, because keep in mind Kishimoto didn't do
right.
He commissioned another artist to take over for Boruto and essentially the story until it got out of control. But I want to say that that artist that did that is still
working there.
Yeah, it's still doing the, and it seemed like they have and this particular artist, from my understanding, the way I read it was they are known for doing stuff like that.
Right. What I'm saying is, no, we don't have a full picture of Sarada right now, but with what they've given us, where instead of getting an action shot, like Boruto got an action shot, he's like one eye missing and shit. All we got was Sarada's clavicle and neck, which is seen as.
I'm scared to see the rest of it.
I'm also scared to see.
Like, I don't even know.
In my redneck voice, yeah, that's them Japanese cartoons.
Hey, just you show that neck.
Lord, it's I'm like I said, I am scared to see what is going to be her design due to past and how she isn't given an action shot like Boruto was given an action shot for the quote-unquote leaked preview.
Yeah. It's what that vein of how you do girls, because you got to get the target audience, which are namely the boys. Get the boys in here to get to looking at it.
But last two bits of news, these are the big ones. The director, if I'm saying this wrong, I apologize. Ippy has passed away from Tatsuko Production. He's the co-founder. He was 83. Mm-hmm. This is a director of Speed Racer.
Oh, cool.
So I just, my mother was a big fan. R.I.P. Rip Guy, you really made a way. That was one of the first animes to make it to American screens back in the Gap. And then, I don't know how deep I'm going to go into this. If y'all want to hear the synopsis, tell me after I tell you this. Lazarus Adult Swim is Toonami is saying that they have produced this screen only, which means there's no manga to it,
Okay.
anime called Lazarus. Who is on this? Mappa. Studio Mappa, which as you know is Jujutsu Kaisen, Attack on Titan. They're in here working on it. Who else is working on it? All action scenes. Yeah, all action scenes are being directed by Chad Stolsky, also known for all four John Wicks.
Well, at least we know it'll be.
Hold on, it gets better. It gets better. The main director for this new anime that's, non-manga, the director for the whole entire thing is Shinichiro Watanabe, who we know for Samurai Champloo, Cowboy Bebop, and Space Dandy.
Nice.
So, do we
want... It's going to be a fun time. Maybe.
There is a synopsis out if y'all want to hear it. It's a quick synopsis.
Indeed, super. It is. Because I don't know what I'm currently watching something now that Mappa did. And I was like, oh, y'all always come through. Super pretty. Yeah.
Mappa is the new Disney. You're not wrong.
Right. Like, we're not going to, you can't accuse their, at least I haven't been able to see any of their animations being ugly.
Right.
It's pretty. So like even their intros, just to talk about Matt be pretty. So it's just pretty.
Let's see if I can find where I put the synopsis. Okay. I'm going to put the sexy voice on. Y'all ready?
The year is 2052. An era of unprecedented peace and prosperity prevails across the globe. The reason for this, mankind has been freed from sickness and pain. Nobel Peace Prize winning neuroscientist Dr. Skinner has developed a miracle cure-all drug with no apparent drawbacks called Hapuna. Hapuna soon becomes ubiquitous and essential. However, soon after Hapuna is officially introduced, Dr. Skinner vanishes. 3 years later, the world has moved on, but Dr. Skinner has returned, this time a harbinger of doom. Skinner announces that Hapuna has a short half-life. Everyone who has taken it will die approximately 3 years later. Death is coming for this sinful world, and coming soon. As a response to this threat, a special task force of 5 agents is gathered from across the world to save humanity from Skinner's plan. The group is called Lazarus. Can they find Skinner and develop a vaccine before time runs out?
I'm gonna lie, that bored the shit out of me. I'm just gonna be honest with you. That bored the fuck out of me. Now, I hope the anime is better than the synopsis, because that did not tell me anything about anything saying that Patrice wants to sit down and watch this. Am I gonna give it a shot?
I really thought they were gonna go the zombie route, and you know how I feel about zombies. I love zombie animes and I love zombie movies, and so I was hoping that's where it was going.
Instances where you've had shows that did not have a manga adaptation, like IPX Eternal Grand Prix, that was good, and right, NPR, right, or any of those. A few of them. Now we're not looking at like High Guardian Spice, that dump heap or whatever like that, but that's got Tubi.
Yeah, right.
Tubi does got some don't even get me started on classic trash. It's like where hopes and dreams go to die, but you still hanging on to a dream, so you go to Tubi and try to make it happen. I'm gonna go outside and film a Tubi movie like right after this. I'm just gonna go outside and put my phone.
That's what I have for news.
Going on. For those of you who give a shit, the second movie to Alita is finally coming out. If you remember Alita, the android
Battle
woman,
Angel.
With the roller skates. And I'm giving the laziest.
You give two shits about
because my husband, my husband likes this movie a lot. I like the movie well enough. I'm not gonna lie, I liked it well enough, but I was not in the number of clamoring for the second one.
Yeah, I think James Cameron is doing better. Right. I could double check real quick.
Right. for those who care, though, I don't know when it's coming out because I vaguely looked at the post that he tagged me in. I saw it and I said, oh, wow, a word. And then, that was the end of that. So if you're interested, yay.
No, not
On
James Cameron.
In other news that I have, for those of you who are keeping up with whatever Atlas got going on, aka the producers of the Persona series, Shin Megami Tensei, and the like, they have announced that the Persona 3 remake, which is P3 Reload, will be the last one. However, we did learn today that they have been in talks with some other production companies to redo the first two Personas. So
Oh.
you did not get a chance. If you're like somebody like me who liked them but didn't quite get a chance to play them when they dropped, because I think the first one didn't make it here. You actually have to go through hoops and loops to get hold to the first one, and you only got exposed to the second one, but they really didn't have the whole thing here. You might actually have a chance. It's just in talks, so I keep you updated. But if you are a Persona fan, if you like the earlier Personas when it was more into the darker side, coming right off of Shin Megami Tensei, so it was kind of in that darker tone and not as light as not saying that the subject matter got any lighter, but it was a little bit more heavier. Yeah, back then, you might be in luck. Stay tuned. They might be coming out. So,
Oh yeah, you should watch Ghost Story. Side notes. We're gonna this Halloween. We're talking about ghost stories and our favorite episodes.
We are, because we did not get a chance to do so last year.
No, we were doing it this year. I might do a watch party.
Hang in, be with us in October. I'm telling you, it's gonna be a fun time because we're doing the ghost stories in English.
Yes. Anyway, now we're on to the topic. This week's topic is we need an adult.
If y'all haven't read it, you've seen the topic here. It's going to be a good one. For the first time in a while, again, we've got some trigger warnings for you. If you don't know, this topic will be discussing age disparity in anime and manga. Is it that prevalent? It's an issue. And we're going to get into it about age discrepancies and disparities. Here we go. Here's your trigger warnings for today. So, just like anything else, when we issue trigger warnings, that is your cue to say, if I am not comfortable, I am not in the right headspace, I am yada, 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 I can't do this today. When you hear the warnings, we're not going to get offended. Exit stage right. We'll catch y'all on the VOD. Watch it at your own leisure. Yes, I actually updated the VODs. So if you are subscribed to YouTube just to catch it while you are cleaning up, work from home, whatever, on the toilet, hey, that's your business.
Okay.
Put it on. Okay. Here's your trigger warnings for today. Relationships with minors. All minors are considered anybody under the age of 18 in regards to age of consent for different states in the United States, particularly different prefectures in the nation of Japan. Any person under the age of 13 and below is considered a minor adult, state by state, prefecture by prefecture. But here in this context, we're talking about any person 18 or below the age of 18 years of age. This is what we're discussing today. We're also talking about power dynamics. Power dynamics where there is one person, usually an adult, over a minor child, who there is a huge difference in power, i.e. teachers, parents, etc., etc., etc. You know what power dynamics means, which means they hold sway, they hold influence, anything over said minor. We're also talking about grooming. For the light definition of grooming, grooming means it usually involves an adult or anybody in power that is quote unquote prepping a minor for future relationships in regards of behavior, acts, da 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 da. You also hear certain words that will not be minced here. So beware of trigger words. Okay, we will briefly touch on attempts of suicide. So be aware. Those are your
Yes.
triggers today.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, if you yeah, and we'll get into it, Tiny. I did a lot of research, couldn't go, but I will drop some uh directions for you to go do some reading on your own. I actually got started on this pretty early to prepare for it because it's something I've been wanting to talk about, something Honest wanted to talk about since we are large consumers of this, and this is why you're here because y'all are large consumers of the same type of we enjoy this and we've seen it a lot. So without further ado, you've been warned. Oh, light spoilers for the light spoilers in regards to the discussion for the following anime: Card Captor Sakura, Inuyasha, Fruits Baskets. Okay, there might be others
There's a lot of
during
others,
this
yeah.
discussion. Feel free to drop any that you've seen. I know that Rurouni Kenshin has one in it too. I didn't put it in there because I didn't have the time to rewatch the series.
Yeah.
I did read about it. So if you go to Screaming at Me, yeah, it does explain a lot, Tiny. It does. We're going to get to it. If you say, oh, you didn't talk about this series, what about this series? I promise you, my brain holds so much anime and manga. It's in
I
there.
had to tell that to my kid the other day. She was
There's
like,
another one that I've been reading that also goes into, there's a manga, it hasn't been adopted into a manga. I'm sorry, it hasn't been adopted into an anime, where there is an adult who has kidnapped a child and is holding them in there, but it's played off that the child wants to be kidnapped.
you told me about that. It was really
I
awkward.
did. It's really good, but it's super disturbing. But it's not played into be anything other than disturbing, kind of, sort of. All right, so let's get into it. We're going to go right into the discussion of the first couple uh, in this, and y'all weigh in, which is Rika Sasaki and Mr. Yoshiyuki Tarada from Card Captor Sakura. So for those of you who don't know, Card Captor Sakura is a series that's near and dear to my heart. One of the first anime magical girl series that I got into that wasn't Sailor Moon, where you have this girl who opens up the book.
What's up, Super? We have a subscriber. What's up, Super? You're our first subscriber. Wait, we have a subscriber button?
Welcome to the Hater Nation. We love you here. All of our haters are beautiful.
We have a subscriber
If you want to know why we're calling you haters, it's a good thing. We love to hate the things that we love. That's why we're here. So welcome to the Hater Nation.
Where's
we
our
love
subscriber button?
But if for those of you who don't know, because it didn't do the little thing, it sure didn't.
Oh, it's a YouTube subscriber. Holy shit! That's why I'm an idiot.
Oh, well, that's what's up.
Idiot!
It's Thursday. We can't blame it on Friday. That's okay. We're close to the end of the week. We're not there. But for those of you who don't know, Card Captor Sakura. Anyway, you have Sakura, who happens upon a book in the library. All of these cards come out. Come to find out, connected to this musician called Cloud Reed, and she is given the power to retrieve said cards because she has been pretty much endowed with the power of being the cards' new master. Well, that's not what we're talking about. Now, keep in mind the context. Let's put the setting there. The couple, and I do say couple that we're talking about, is Rika and Mr. Terada. Now, here's a background. Although the relationship was played differently in the anime, for those of you who've seen the anime, you'll know what I'm talking about. Because in the anime, it's played off as being one-sided, being that Rika just has a crush on her teacher. In the manga, however, it is very clearly stated that the two are romantically involved. They've been caught by Sakura, which is the main character, and Shaoran, which is the guy that comes from Japan. Not Japan, from China, yeah, to help try to catch the cards too. On several outings, at the end of the series, right before she goes to the into middle school, he gave her a promise ring stating that they will get married. Now, here's the problem. He is her homeroom teacher and her PE teacher. She is in elementary school. Elementary, I did not say middle school, I said elementary school. It is noted that in the series, she is between the ages of 10 and 12.
Oh.
His age at the minimum is 20. The reason why they didn't clearly define it, they said because in Japan, to have a teaching certificate, the minimal age is 20. So if we're being generous, he is maybe 10 years her senior
Lord.
at minimum. She's between the ages of, yeah, about 8 and 10 years
Thanks.
old.
Thanks, Black
Because
Buddha.
they haven't. That's what's up. Thank you.
Another subscriber.
So I
Yes, we
want you
have
to
a
keep that
YouTube, y'all. We have a YouTube. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
we do have y'all. That's what's up. So I need y'all to put that in your head. Here we are with a romantic relationship, with a engagement at the end of the series. And at the end of the series, which is clear card, they finally make it to middle school. So in middle school, they're between the ages of 12 and 14. However, she is engaged by that time. They have been romantically involved before that. We'll get into the discussion about why. I just want y'all to have that in your head of that particular relationship.
Thank you, Spider. That's exactly what the fuck I was thinking. Cue the FBI, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. We're going in.
Right, yeah. Oh, yeah. No. Cue Chris Hansen. Get him in here. Yeah, that's the first. And I'm not gonna lie though, Onyx, though, that relationship, I think out of all of them on here was the most disturbing to me. Because I think one of the youngest on this list
right.
was someone who was just in elementary school with her teacher who is at least 20. I remember in if you look at the manga panels, they're like caught on picnics. She brings some things, they meet behind stuff. And I think they said that like when Sakura caught them, she's looking at it like, oh, that's so sweet. They have a strong love for each other. I think in Clear Card, when it has the like something, one of the cards does something weird. And she noticed that Rika is not acting the way that she normally does to Mr. Terada. She was like, she knew something was wrong because she knew their relationship. It's one of those dynamics that it is played off as that's their love. A literal child. Now I need y'all to keep that in mind. When this relationship starts, when we get to the age of consent in Japan, you'll see where the major issues come from. All right. The next relationship I want to put in a bug in your ear is for Fujiwara and Nashiko. These are Sakura's parents. Now, this is the main character's parents in the same series card captor. So we can see right now, this is a thing. This is a thing. Because if you notice, Sakura even had a crush on an older person in the series herself. Now, these are her own parents. All right. Now, her mother was climbing in a tree to like help a bird or something like that. She fell out of the tree. This is how her parents met. Her father caught her mother out of the tree as she was falling, and he said, and I quote from the manga. Now I took the screenshot, but I had to write it here. This is what he said: "I thought an angel fell from the sky."
He had Riz, y'all. He had Riz.
He did. It ain't hard to talk nickel slick to a child.
No, that's very true.
You're a whole adult.
That's very true.
Yeah, it does sound kind of smooth. They do say that her parents disapproved of the relationship, but they got married anyway. So here's the issue. Here's the problem. He was a student teacher at her school.
What are these fucking teachers?
It gets worse. At the time that he caught her out of the tree, she was 16. He is noted as being 25.
Oh my God.
Yes. So there's approximately a 9-year difference between the two. Just want to put that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's. Trust, it gets worse. So these are Sakura's parents. So I can see how and throughout the series, they say she was extremely loved by her father. If you notice in the series, he has like picture up, blah, 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 that kind of thing. Like he loved this woman. Well, this girl. Literal.
This baby.
Yeah. Because she was, 16. He's 25. So it's not even like he was Mr. Terada's age. and was like at least 20. So that would put him like 4 years older than her. No. It's 25. Like at the quote unquote age of reasoning, where your prefrontal cortex has kicked in. So you are considered adult by all contexts, scientifically, out of adolescence at 25. So we're talking about a full-on adult saying, bam, we got this. All right, so I'm giving y'all the backgrounds for this, and y'all saying yes. So when we get into the discussion, the meaty potatoes, these are series that we have seen. All right, so the next one, which I know personally, this is what kicked it off when me and Honest were talking about discussions in the first place. This particular relationship here, which is Ren and Shishomaru from the Inuyasha series.
Yeah.
So, just a tiny background. Shishomaru had got injured. He was resting in the forest. Ren saw him. She was insistent on healing him. He kept turning her away like ill human, and she kept on her. Yeah, basically, her kindness kind of won him over, and eventually, she just became his traveling companion. Here's the problem with this. At the start of the series, she was between the ages of 9 and 10. He is a demon lord and is noted as being well over 200 years old. Because remember, he's Inuyasha's older brother.
Right.
Inuyasha is noted as being around 200 years of age. He is a little bit above 200 years of age with a human child that is between the ages of 9 and 10.
Oh, Lord.
He saved her from death twice. Remind you, when we get into the issues, Onyx, remember, at the start of the series, she was a mute.
Yeah, she did not speak. She just kept coming. He actually hit her a few times also, like pushed her away when they first met. He was like dying in the forest pretty much. And she just kept going and kept going. He like smacked the shit out of this 10-year-old girl.
Which she was
used her again. Well, I understand she was used to it, and she was a mute, so she couldn't communicate that she was trying to help him. But, oh God. Oh my God.
Here's the kicker that now Honest can tell you this one because I just couldn't do the series. She watched more of the series. In the new series, he marries her. Those two twin girls in the new series, those are their twin girls. Here's the other thing. She was between they got married when she was about 14. She gave birth when she was 18. Let that sink in.
I watched the 5 episodes ish of Yashahime, Demon Princess. First and foremost, I got mad because they brought Kikyo's old bitch ass back. They brought her back again. They brought her back again.
They brought her back.
Lord, again. I don't know what to say, and that's what made me turn it off, because I was like, if they bring Kikyo back, I'm gonna fucking scream. They brought Kikyo back. I turned it off by episode 5. I couldn't keep looking at Kikyo's face after 10 years. Anyway, and there's this one child was raised in the time of Inuyasha, and then the other child was raised, the twins that they had, in the time of Kagome's actual time. As Kagome's family, she was raised. So they couldn't understand why they had such a connection to her. Turns out it was actually just their great niece or whatever.
Yeah.
So when they come together, it's a whole fuckload of bullshit.
Right.
It's a lot of. I feel personally like it was a lot of retconning, but I didn't go forward. Anyway. They end up finding each other because they almost beat each other's ass, and then they realized they were sisters. And I was like, okay, I'm done because I didn't.
How big is it?
Huh?
They depended on you for everything. And there's another relationship like this we have.
Yeah, I was about to say it's a big comparison to the other one,
right? But you basically raised your wife. Can anybody say Woody Allen? I mean, I'm just saying. I don't see how this will ever be looked at in a favorable light.
Who wants to just grow up and be like, one day I wish I could get a husband who can raise me, right?
Right. Like you watch this literal girl grow. Like you got this girl when she was a girl. Like she hadn't even hit puberty right.
Her ovaries hadn't dropped.
Right, yeah, like literally
That's not
nothing.
how it works, y'all. But
She
okay.
had nothing to what you quote unquote to be like, okay, to get a man, I guess. And kept on as opposed to being looked at like, oh, I look at her as a daughter or anything like that eventually. No, no, no. I'm going to I cultivated the perfect wife basically because I don't like humans. So I cultivated the perfect wife and made her a mother at the ripe old age of 18.
Perfect. And she died.
And she
Spoilers.
died. Well, she died twice. The first time
Oh,
he
no, I'm
saved
talking about Yashahime.
her. Oh, okay. And then he was distraught when she died the second time, and his mother spirit gave her a talisman to save her the second time
Lord. What a waste.
because he was distraught about her dying.
Let me
But that's a
double
whole
check
other
that.
can of worms. If y'all
That is.
pay attention to rewatching. Now the next one is a movie. I had to get the synopsis on this because we didn't get a chance to watch it. They wouldn't release it here, and I wonder
They're
why.
still haven't released it here.
Right. And this is um let's see. I was on film set with a woman who was talking about having dinner with Woody Allen and his wife and how lovely. Yeah, I don't understand why that lady said that like that wasn't his whole stepdaughter. Like that would have made me uncomfortable, Tiny. That literally would make like that's a
I'd
well-known
start
story.
to itch, dude.
Yeah, I mean, well-known. The fact that she was like, "Oh yeah, they're so lovey-dovey." We okay.
Before you get to the next one, I do want to say,
Gotcha.
how are we feeling on the mere fact of like Kagome and Inuyasha are in the same boat here? 200 years is
They are.
200 fucking years, right?
Yep, they are.
Okay, that's why I'm making sure that we're all in the same boat. That the whole
Now-
entire show is problematic in general.
To add more context, what they were saying, because they were saying like, oh, like he looks 15 because he's like the body of a 15-year-old, blah blah blah, and Kagome is like right behind him. But to make it even more horrifying, because Ren is still 8 or 9, they said that Shishomaru is like 17 or 18. So even if we took away the 200 years, that's still too damn old
Right.
to be fucking around with a child.
That is a baby.
Right. Like whether we say, oh, okay. Well, translated from dog years or demon years,
Wow.
that still does not
No,
absolve
it
him.
doesn't. The
It
whole
doesn't.
entire
because
show
again,
needs to be thrown in the
He's not going to
trash.
get younger. She's going to get older, and so is he.
Yeah,
So that's not going to make it better. She doesn't, quote unquote. So we can say, oh, that's feudal Japan. The times were different. That's fine. Laws got changed for a reason.
I mean,
As time went on,
slavery was legal.
because it was like that didn't make it any less problematic. Just saying, put it up there, just food for thought.
Yeah. Spider note. That's the thing. That's why we wanted to talk about this, because it is such a normalized thing in anime and in manga and in video games and stuff like that. We have kind of just brushed it over and kind of just cringed on our own when we see it and move on. But it does need to be. And I will say this too, from what I've noticed of this generation, they don't play that shit. When that
well, I'm not real sure if it's necessarily from my research necessarily just this generation.
Yeah, I will say they probably are significantly more vocal about it.
But I think it's we'll get into it, but yeah. It literally, it's definitely become a movement. I will say that.
Because there is so much, and I'll just throw this out there. When My Hero Academia dropped the cover, and some tiny spoilers here, with the invisible girl being not invisible, and they put her on the cover completely naked.
That's problematic.
That's
while we're talking about Sarada, because again, if you're gonna put her on for someone we know for a fact is invisible, who wears clothes because she's aware whether or not you can see me or not. I'm naked. I'm very much naked here, and then you unveil her and you take her clothes off. What's the implication here? She's still a kid. Excuse me,
yeah.
She's still a kid.
That's still a 14-year-old vulnerable because her quirk has been taken. Like,
correct. So Yeah, so so that and even in that context, we're saying okay, her quirkless. So that means, I mean, did they steal her clothes too?
Well, that's what the implication is, that she runs around naked this whole entire time.
Yeah,
And they put,
mm-mm.
and the way, the thing is with the whole how it unfolds in the manga, it's not unfolded in the anime yet.
Yeah,
It's significantly different there, how she becomes seen. They don't see her whole body, you just see her face, and she's crying because of the outcome, and she becomes invisible again. But the author or illustrator said, hey, here's a great idea, let's put her full entire form naked on the cover of this issue for these chapters.
why? That's a and yeah, we'll keep that in the back of your head when we get to these discussions at the bottom of that, because that raises so many questions, particularly when we start getting into some other stuff. But let's hit this last couple right quick, because I want to get into the meat and potatoes. Seems like everybody is really interested about some of the stuff that we found. But this next couple was from Fruit Basket. Matter of fact, the prelude, which was the movie.
Mm-hmm.
If you got a chance to see it, great. I know there
You
was a
saw
bit
it
of
illegally.
yeah, if you were, you sailed the high seas and you were able to see it, that makes me happy. Not saying that people don't need to be paid for their work, so that's not what I mean, but I'm just saying that it was a bit of an issue getting here to play because of the context. So this is Kyoko and Katsuya Honda, which are Toru Honda's parents. This is their backstory, how they met. Now, I wrote a tiny synopsis. I didn't get a chance to see the movie. So, having met Katsuya in middle school, so he met her mother. The father met Honda's mother, Toru's mother in middle school while he was interning at her school. He didn't want to be a teacher. He only did that to appease his father, from my understanding. Eventually, he goes into pharmaceuticals, which is what he wanted to do when his mother got sick. So he, after meeting her and them bumping heads a little bit, because at that time she was very much into her thug phase.
She's thugnificent.
They get right, like they became nearly inseparable, like talking every day, sharing deep secrets, that kind of thing, like that. They would meet each other on the weekends, blah 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 blah. Her family issues, they got down to talk about why she felt so alone, why she just wanted to be seen, be loved, because her family and home life was very tumultuous, so much in fact that she got put out. In the midst of her being put out and having nowhere to go, uh Kyoko was at the door waiting for her. He proposed to her right on the spot. And I quote that somebody wrote generously for me to write down, and I would have to double check that. She asked him, "Are you a pedophile?" To which he replies to her, "It's your fault for not being born earlier." Soon after that, they were married.
What the fuck?
Because that's what you tell a child. When a child has the sense enough to ask you, "Hey, yo, sir, what the deal? You into little kids or something?" And you be like, "Well, you should have been born earlier because I can't take it back."
That's along the same lines as I can't wait for her to turn 18.
This, I almost said something. This dude couldn't even wait till she turned 18.
Spider said, I'm sorry, what? Yeah, you heard. You
Here's the
heard.
problem. He couldn't even wait till she turned 18. Here's the problem. All right, so here's the context. They met in middle school. She was a middle schooler. She was a middle schooler. Uh, he married her when she was 15.
The chat cut down.
So chat going in. She was 15 when they got married. So keep that in mind. Middle school, you about 12 years old. They got married when she hit 15. She was pregnant and had her baby by 16. So she was a teen mama.
Toru.
Yeah. He died. Yeah.
He's already dead. He's already dead.
He died by getting sick. And after that, she became suicidal because he was legitimately all she had. She stated several times, "He was my entire world. I don't know how I'm going to survive." Because it makes sense when you meet somebody when they 12 and you basically they parent.
It's Ren and Sesshomaru all
At
over
the
again.
time, they said he was 24 when he met her. Well, when they got married, 24. So, whole adult in that. That's the issues that we have here. So, again, I want that to make it as sweet. And y'all know how I feel about fruits baskets.
We
Y'all know
love Fruits Basket because
we
of
love
a lot of the
that.
controversial issues in there when it comes to family on family issues. This shit,
Correct.
though?
This every single story that we talked about problematic. These are just a few that we've personally seen. Again, I did bring up Rurouni Kenshin. I realized that the relationship of the main character and one other character there was an 11-year difference. However, it
Ooh.
didn't get romantic until she became of age. They say over the age of
Oh,
18.
okay.
But we already know the thing with that author, so it pretty much makes sense. Why that story was like that. If y'all know, you know, and if you don't, please go look
Twitch
it up.
does
And
need
why we
gifts. You're
don't.
absolutely right.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, they most definitely do. Um, I do know about another story I actually watched. It was this guy, he needed an umbrella anyway. He ran into a high schooler, fell in love with her at the end of the series. They kind of wanted to be together. He was like already in his 20s. She was in high school. One I could not stomach was this, I think she was 7 or 8, was living with this adult.
Is that Sweetness and
And
Lightning?
I don't know, girl, whatever the one where she tripped and fell out the bath and her whole conch shell was
Oh,
just all
no.
over her face. And
No,
she
that
was like
wasn't
8 years old.
that.
I turned it off. Yeah, I some stuff I can dip that right there. You will not have a whole naked 8 year old sitting on some grown man face who in his 20s, telling some oopsie doodle. That's not an oopsie doodle. This ain't one of those, whoops, I tripped in high school and like I grabbed your titties. That's not one of them
My
situations.
bad.
That is a baby and it's not cute.
It's not.
So yeah, that one I couldn't really do. Yeah, I know, y'all. It's like, right, like
Lord.
all right, so let's keep all these things in your head. Let's get into the meat and potatoes. I know that was heavy, but we needed it for context sake. So here's always the huge issue that people love bringing up. What is the age of consent in Japan? So I had to do some research.
Any guesses in the
There
chat?
is a website called ageofconsent.com. You can go and search it up. It's pretty reputable. I didn't see any reason why it wouldn't be reputable. This was good one. So the general view in Japan, this is the general view. These are the takeaway notes that I got. Viewed as controversial and more problematic than criminal. That's point number one. They favor the romance aspect of the relationship more than the sexual part of it, which is why it's viewed as controversial, not criminal, as long as it's focused on the romance part. Point number three, it's no major issues as long as there are two consenting adults. Put that in your head here, because I'm gonna circle back. I'm gonna give you some numbers. The general view in America regarding this is viewed as controversial, period. There seems to be a double standard when it comes to the sexes. Whereas you have a older man dating a younger woman, case in point, people like Al Pacino and Robert De Niro having babies well into their 80s with their much, 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 much younger girlfriends who are like 30s and 20s. And that it is debatable on the content or the consent of the adults involved. Case in point, like I said, you got people like Robert De Niro who are in their 80s who said, "Oh, they just had a baby, their girlfriend's like 30." Something like that. Or you have these older men like Anna Nicole back in the day and her husband, and she was like barely out of her 20s or barely in her 20s, married to this, I think she was like 18 at the time. Now, per the website, in Japan, the age of consent is considered 13 years of age or above. 13 years of age and above. I have to repeat that because most girls hit their menstruation at the age of 13. Around that age, slightly younger, depends on who you are. I was one of those people, but hey, not, yeah, just saying. 13 years of age is what's considered the age of consent. Now, when I mean consent, I do mean sexual consent, not relationship, not just relationship. The age of consent is considered sexual relationship, that they can concede to saying, yes, I would like to have sex, starts at the age of 13. However, there are protective rules in place for people or minor people of between the ages of 13 and 18. There are some protections in place. Certain protections are in place called the obscenity statutes or corruptions to minors. Now, certain prefectures, such as Tokyo, have set the bar and said sexual relationship consent is set at 16 to 18. Just like I stated in the beginning of this discussion, that the age of consent is state by state, prefectures can do the same thing in Japan. So Tokyo said, okay, I understand, age of 13. We're saying here, 16 to 18, you can do that because they want to get away from corruption of minors or the obscenity statute. So yeah, Spider, yeah, it's yeah.
I like how he just
So
said no.
about,
he just said no. He said no.
oh yeah, we're mad. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, no, yeah. Taking the not just saying, oh, romance, yay. No, we're saying I can say I will consent to a sexual relationship at the age of 13, depending on where you are.
Let me let the chat understand something. We, Geeky and Onyx, do not condone this at all. So I don't want y'all to get it twisted in the chat. We are not for this. We are not making any excuses whatsoever. We are talking about what we have found online and how it is being portrayed through anime. So I don't want anyone to think we are for this bullshit in the chat, okay? I'm letting that be known. We are just relaying information.
Because that's the reason why we're having the discussion and we're going through it, because we're giving you the numbers to give you the context so that when you look at the anime and the manga, it starts to make some more sense to you about where it's yeah, right, where it is. In keeping going, in Japan, the age of consent can be lowered in prefectures or in the stricter places, such as like Tokyo, who said no, 16 is the limit, the lowest will go. It can be lowered if they can prove, the two people involved can prove that the relationship that they are in is sincere.
Oh my God.
And they have their...
Tell him you love me, bitch.
Parental support.
I love him.
Correct. So if they can prove to their parents, say for instance, let's go back to Rika and Mr. Tarada, her teacher, who is at minimum 20 years old and at her youngest 9 years old. If they can prove, by the time because he proposes to her, like, because he thinks he's slick, he proposes to her when she's in middle school. So she's legally at the age of consent.
He says like Utah. We're getting there.
Right. Legally, they can go and say, well, Mom, he's going to marry me and he's going to take care of me. And I love him and he loves me.
An established adult.
Right. And they say, okay, fine. Y'all can get married now. There is an anime out right now that's called My Wife is a High School Girl. I haven't watched it yet. It is on Crunchyroll right now and Funimation if you want to see it. I'm not endorsing it at all. I'm just saying if you just want to be horrified beyond all recognition. I would say, personally, I wouldn't, like, let's not advocate for this crap, but okay. Go ahead. If I'm just telling you, just in case you run across it and you'd be like, oh, okay, that's a thing. Yeah. All right. So in America, so let's do the comparison of the age of consent in Japan. So keep that in mind. The lowest you can go. Now, they said that any any person below the age of 13 is a strict no-no. You're starting to cross lines there. Okay. So in America, it does vary from state to state, just like we stated in Japan. Like federally, it said 13, but prefectures are allowed to set their own. In the United States, it is set to state to state. It's state to state. So you're considered a quote unquote adult by the age of 18 by federal government standards. Okay. By the age of 18, you are considered adult. The age of consent, however, is set by state by state. So in my state, the great state of Alabama, the age of consent is
We know,
16
Spider.
years. Huh?
He was saying what the hell, but it's to the anime. He was saying what the hell too. We get it.
Oh yeah. Because we're gonna yeah. Trust me, I want you to vent. I need y'all to
Be
make
angry.
it
Be very angry.
right. In the state of Alabama, the age of consent is 16 years of age with someone who is the same age. Now, keep in mind, when I'm saying consent, I am not talking about a relationship. I am talking about specifically, I'm talking about a sexual relationship that involves sex. It involves sex in every form, whether you're talking about anal, vaginal, oral, however you want to say that. If it involves any type of sexual, okay, I'm losing my words, but if it involves sex in any form,
I was about to come help you.
yeah, that's the consent that we're talking about. So I'm not saying, oh, we're talking about just boyfriend and girlfriend. No. The age of consent between two consenting people, the age of consent is the age of 16 with another 16-year-old. So both of them have to be 16. You can get married at the age of 16 with parents' consent. If you're 18, you don't need consent. Okay. Sexual relationships with any person and you're 18 and they're younger than you, that's when your problems start coming in. It also starts kicking in if you're 16 and they're younger than you. So again, if your boyfriend is 16 and you're 15 and he say, let's do it, according to Alabama, you will have to be registered as a sex offender. Because you have surpassed because your girlfriend or your person, your person
baby.
isn't the same age. Correct. In the state of Illinois, you must be 17, period.
That's my state, by the way, y'all.
2 people. Yep, that's why I pulled yours.
Thanks.
So it's not 16. You got to be 17. 2 consenting peoples, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your person, got to be 17. You 17.
I'm going to
you
point
get
out.
Married.
Oh, go ahead.
Hmm?
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I was going to point out the political difference of the 2 states. I want y'all to understand that. Not to get super political here.
Oh, no, go ahead.
But this is just...
Because you kind of have to.
You have to. Alabama is considered a red state through and through. Mm-hmm. I used to live there also. We are a red state. We have had our own...
We are Republican leaning in this state.
Racial issues down there, so on and so forth. Illinois... I have to explain this to people.
Correct, Tiny Drum. Yeah, it is. In 41C, yeah.
I have to explain this to people. Chicago is blue. The rest of Illinois is actually red. Chicago, though, has about 6 times the population as the rest of Illinois altogether. Yeah. That's why we are a blue state. But
I have more. Yeah, per square capita.
We have just in the Chicago area. It's just
but there isn't enough people in the other areas, in the rural areas.
Chicago is literally all rural and farmland. Once you get about an hour and 15, like I'm on the borderline, 40 minutes from downtown. I'm on the borderline of farmland. I can go 20 minutes south and I'll be in farmland territory.
Right.
So that contributes to what is consent and not here.
Correct.
And that also contributes to, isn't Alabama like, if the parents say it's okay? I don't know if you had that already researched.
And I mentioned that if you can get married at the age of 16 with parental consent. That actually happened to me while I was in middle school. That I knew a girl. Her name is Kelly. Shout out to Kelly. When she got married, she got She couldn't wait to turn 16 because she said her parents already agreed to it. We were in middle school. I remember that conversation because it was wild to me. And Kelly was Kelly was cool. She always came to school with her tight jeans and her cowboy boots, and she could not wait. Like she talked about it. It was I'll never forget. It was integrated science, 8th grade. She could not wait. No, it was 7th grade. 7th grade. It was 7th grade. She could not wait until she turned 16 because she just said she was getting married. Surprisingly enough, in the state of Illinois, it is exactly the same thing.
Yes.
You can get married at 17 with parental consent. 18, you don't need consent. So you can get married. You just have to ask your parents in that state. I didn't pull all the states. However, you are welcome to look up your state. You can go to ageofconsent.com and look up those facts. Please do before you get yourself in trouble. I'm not saying my haters are like that. I'm just saying if you know someone who might be please find out the laws for your state. Please find out the laws for your state.
It's crazy.
Please find out the laws for your state. All right, so here's the backlash. According to a report done by the BBC in February of this year, 2023,
nice.
Western anime fans became so disgusted with the relationships that they were finding and seeing in manga and anime that it has now had an influence on Japanese law, where there are talks and there are hopes that during this summer, they're in talks of raising the age of consent federally to at least 16, not 13. I find that interesting.
I do too.
Because I know you brought it up of the generation now. And I think that plays into, like you said, like you have the younger, maybe they're reading the stuff, they're getting aware, they're getting hip, and they're saying, hey, I was just on Reddit earlier while I was doing, getting the last bit of some stuff. And they were talking about somebody was literally going toe to toe with somebody where one person was trying to defend the relationship of Toru's parents from Fruits Baskets. And the other person was like, no, realistically, we have to look at it. Somebody preyed on a child, and it is grooming. They brought that's grooming. That's something I want to talk about because I feel like, excuse me, y'all, I'm shifting around. I gotta resettle myself. I feel like a lot of the relationships that we talked about, particularly the one that bothers me the most, which is the first one from Card Cap, is flat out grooming. It's grooming. I don't see any other way to get around it. You have a person who is by account, and the reason why I have the numbers for y'all here is even by Japanese standards, 13 is the age of consent. At least by 18, you're considered an adult. This person, in every instance in these manga and anime, are over that age. And almost every person, particularly the first relationship, is under the age of consent. Or even under the age of what you can consider saying you can pass it off for harmless romance. How is that not, which is where I'm gonna throw that out to you and to the chat. How is that not, or how is that never been seen as problematic, even to the Japanese audiences?
I'm going to slightly answer that with the question Spider posed to us, why not 19 or 25? It has everything to do with us as females. We are seen as more attractive the younger we are. It's just plain and simple. That is it. We, unlike men, have a time limit for procreation. We have a time limit for procreation. And that sits in the back of men's heads if they did want children, which, not gonna lie, like a lot of dudes do. And I know it's not attractive for this current generation to like kids, But
Right.
there are
Not
like
on trend for them right now. It's just not on trend.
it's not on trend right now with the
Ew,
current
they gross.
generation. But there are men like kids too. And I hate to say it like that, but they are a part of the process where
Yeah,
you
leaving
know,
their
we like
lineage.
they like kids too. My
Yeah.
husband loves his children, has always been a kids guy. I'm the same way. I feel better. I know it's going to sound like super horrible too, but like I like talking to younger kids and seeing their points of view about things than older people because older people suck. Anyway,
Oh, we do not.
not like that. I'm talking about
I
like,
mean, we might, but in that context.
but I like the
Don't
innocence
mean
of
that
their
bad.
versions of what we might be talking about. But anyway,
Right.
we as women have a time limit and it's not unknown and is not disregarded when it comes to quote unquote picking and preying on younger women. These old ass men in Hollywood go and get these 20 and 30 like Leonardo DiCaprio's they literally have a chart that
He
he
is notorious.
woo,
Yes.
they got a
He will
chart.
switch them out like he switches out summer clothes from winter clothes to
He don't
fall
fuck
clothes.
with any bitch over 25. Once she hits 25, he goes back and gets a 19-year-old.
Trade them hoes in for a new model.
So there is a whole thing with older men wanting younger girls. That's
Well, see, I piggyback on what you said though, since we brought up Leonardo in this context, is now I see it beyond not even with the take the children aspect out of it. Do you not think, because this is what's in my head, do you not think it has everything to do with saying that women, or in this case, girls, are easily controlled, manipulated, or molded into an ideal at a younger age, as opposed to getting an older girl, and by older I mean like 18, 19, 20 years old, as opposed to getting someone like that. If we take the context of, oh yeah, I want children, yeah, but women can have children. What they used to tell you is like, look, if you ain't pop them out by 36, go and start counting eggs, how many eggs you got left.
right.
With medical science, you can have them. I mean,
And
even
older
now,
now.
yeah, get older. But what I mean is, even taking the context of children out, do we think it's something more sinister? Younger
I
girls are just more appealing because of that whole sweet innocence of a child or a girl.
I went to about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, a 4 hour training session.
That's so yuck, Tiny. Ugh.
A 4 hour training session on
James
child.
Franco too. Throw
Oh
his ass
man,
out.
throw his ass in there too. When my daughter was in private school, we had to take the 4 hour class because we were chaperoning for stuff.
Okay.
I went and took this 4 hour class. And in that 4 hour class, you had an interview with 3 or 4 pedophiles.
Mm.
And one of them said, because they're not all just for girls, they're for boys too, but one of them said, I go for the younger girls, the ones that don't have fathers, the ones that parents let them roam free. These are the most easily moldable people that you can get your hands on.
I mean, it makes sense.
And I
It
was just
makes
kind of like,
They don't have anybody to sit there and try to steer
right,
them. They don't have any parents, and you can solely be dependent on me.
right.
I'm
And
your
that's
everything.
why they're so moldable. Children in general are moldable. They
Yeah,
follow what you do. And imagine you have a guy who comes in there and shows that he's big, strong, handsome, and has taken an interest in you like no one has ever taken an interest in you in before. And oh
hey,
my
he
god,
loves pretty.
I know, like oh my god,
He
really?
buys me little things. I mean, not no offense, but and not saying every kid is like that, but we're talking about children. We're talking about children now.
Right,
Very impressionable, still in the learning phase. So it's not hard to buy them little things and be like, oh, he gets me gifts and he calls me pretty and he says this. And I
right.
just feel like we've all been, well, I know you and I have been young at one point. You know how it feels to have a
Oh
crush on somebody,
lord.
or you even know how it feels. I know almost every woman has this story where you've encountered a much older man approaching you in a sexual
I
way
have so many
where your
stories.
young mind is trying to process what's happening to you.
Right.
Or, and I don't mean anything happened to you, but like just trying to talk to you as if you were the
Right.
same age,
Right.
them knowing that
I
you're
have
young.
I have had
Right.
men step to me, and the first thing they don't ask me how was my day. They didn't ask me how I was doing. What's up? They would literally say, "Please be 18."
See that see
That
that's problematic. That whole statement.
that was
Please
like
be
I
18
would
because I don't
get.
want to feel I don't want to feel this way, and I don't know if I have to come to grips with my morality
Yeah, I
if I
would
have to sit here and
literally
say I'm attracted
get
to somebody.
men. They
Yeah.
don't ask me my name, nothing. Back in the day, I could tell you horror stories among horror stories. But one of the biggest things was when men would step to me and say, "Please be 18. Please be 17. Please be," I think it's 17 in Louisiana. "Please be 18." And I would just look at him like, "I'm 14." Like,
You're
Tiny, you
right.
can
You're
ask
right. Yeah,
Yvonne.
like
She
'cause
was there.
remember, we're I think the what's making it more prevalent now is a lot of us that grew up in the 80s and the 90s realizing how so and even the early 2000s, I'm not
Yes.
gonna take them out either, how steeped in rape culture we were in.
Oh, bruh.
About how normal and that might say something because think about it. Card captor is in that era, early 2000s. We're talking about everything that was normalized. This is just what goes on. This is what happens. This is what da 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 da. So here's some questions. Let's go get into some
Spider,
questions.
you didn't hear what she just said. In the 90s,
Yeah,
2000s,
yeah,
that
80s,
shit was
90s, early
normal for
2000s.
us as girls.
Right, because we were raised by okay, because think about it. My parents were considered the tail end of boomers. They were at the end. They were almost considered Generation X. If they were born a year later, they would have been. So they were raised by the silent generation.
Right.
Now, mind you, my parents were raised by people who were, you got to pop them out early, got to pop out of many of them because we got to work this field. We got to work. And yeah, that's probably said, well, damn, Patrice, how old are you? I'm old enough, okay? Old enough, like I'm old enough to know, like I said, my parents were raised by their silent generation parents. And they were raised where you got married young,
Yep.
popped out a bunch of babies because we got to have field hands. We got to keep it going, okay? Ain't got no love involved. Oh well, it is what it is. Blah 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 blah. My parents got married young, not because oh yeah, but that's what they were raised in the South. You old maid if you waited later and later and later.
Right.
Thankfully, they were meant for each other, so they got married young. But yeah, remember they're raised by just like for those of you who read The Color Purple, it was not uncommon where you had this older man come by the house and be like, okay, it's time to marry off the oldest daughter. And the oldest daughter ain't no older than 14 years old.
Right.
And the man that's coming to marry her is in his 30s. Like in the case of point with The Color Purple. Mr. was like in his 30s and 40s coming to get Nettie. Nettie at the time was like 14, 15 years old. Ended up having to marry Celie because Nettie ran off. She ran off and then she stuck with, so mind you, these are kids, because if the book, which is different than the movie, Celia is writing letters to God at first. Dear God, she's a kid. She's like 11 years old. Not the fact that the trauma happened. So these are things that happened or not uncommon back then. So remind you, you take that generation to raise the next generation, to raise the next generation. You got things that happen like Freaknik and Daytona Beach and stuff like that, where
Hey,
things
if you're
happen
a
to
tip
young
drill,
girls. Right, that's what I'm saying. With young girls, and we
normalize.
didn't bat an eye back then. We thought
No.
it was we didn't bat an eye
I
back then because it was normal.
I have
It was
recently rewatched Flavor of Love with my 13-year-old, and she is absolutely appalled because everything he's doing with these girls and these girls doing to each other, she said none of this would fly right now.
no, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. You couldn't you could not do a show. That's why I'm surprised. Well, The Bachelor was a whole nother thing. But I said that's what you could not do something like that in this day and age and not get your ass canceled out of life. Like you just not gonna get ran away. It's just because, and I take that because a lot of our generation starting to speak out the older we got, and the more we can look back and be like, you know what? This is not okay. And we're teaching our children, hey, don't let people do to you what they did to
Right.
us.
I can safely say
Training, our generation are training our kids. Now that we're older, we realize the shit that happened to us shouldn't have happened.
no, it shouldn't.
Do not let this happen to you. If you see it, call it out, because we weren't taught, because it was just normal. And now that we've gotten older and people are being called out, we know what nothing normal about that.
Because I have a 13-year-old, and she has said to me, I ask her, and I sadly have to ask her because I'm paranoid because of the amount of times that it happened to me. I said, you weren't bothered by any man while you were out with your friends, or no one really touched you, or da-da-da-da-da. Because I would get grabbed. I would get grabbed by grown-ass men at 14. And thankfully, homegirl Yvonne, who is my child's godmother, would yell in their face, she's 14, she's 15.
Right?
Bestie saving my life from getting probably kidnapped.
Right.
And I have to ask my 13-year-old, are you okay? Has anyone touched you? Da-da-da. And she's like, no, I've never been sexually harassed in my life yet. And I was like,
because how many of us could say that by the time we were 11?
By the time you were 13, I have a 13-year-old. I feel like every female in the chat, me and Geeky, has been in some way sexually harassed or disrespected in some sexual form of words.
Right.
By the age of 13. I'm just saying. I mean, it is what it is.
I literally got my school uniform on. You know what school I'm going to because it's shit on my shirt.
Yeah, sigh of relief, Tiny. Like, thank goodness. Also, Olivia's not the type to like sit there. She'll probably gouge someone's eyes out.
Right. So here's a good discussion question. Since we want to know all of the things that we talked about, how it will, given what we know about Japan thinking now about raising the age of consent, and just to reiterate, we're talking about sexual consent. How or who will this affect in the industry, if at all, in terms of storytelling? Because what we discussed now, we're talking about series that, aside from Fruits Baskets, which is the most current one, series like Inuyasha or Card Captor are no longer on the air.
Right.
So going forward, who will this affect? There are some current series out now.
Yeah, there are some current series, and I'm trying to think, because the romance genre has changed in anime over recent years. We have the sweet ones like what's that big guy and that little girl?
Big Love Story.
Big Love Story. Like, they're both the same age. They're both high school.
We're even getting some like with people who are in the romances with people who are in the workplace.
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. What a koi. That's my jam. Right, yeah. I think I have it right here. No, I don't have it right here. I thought I had it right here. No, I don't.
Life as a, what was it, otaku?
Yes.
Yeah.
Those. Yes. Yeah. The RPG one that is now canceled because the artist was a fucking pedophile or fuck you. Okay. Anyway. No, it has changed. We've started getting more adult romances in the workplace, and we started getting kids that in high school romances.
Right.
Nothing super crazy. You have stuff like Ahado no Ride or whatever like that. Here Comes Spring, however it's, and then the one that just got the live action on Netflix. Tomo shit.
Yay!
That. I can't think of it. Tomodoki or something like that. Yeah. That's a high school romance, and they just do the usual will they, won't they thing.
Yeah.
But like it's not, I think it has already affected writers to stop that shit because of the change that has happened in romance. Right. I'm not seeing as much, even in action, like My Hero Academia or One Piece or whatever. I don't see it anymore as much.
I didn't get a chance to dig this up, and I
not Tomo-chan is the girl. Tomono. Oh my god, you're gonna.
Tomo-chan is the girl. That's a good one.
That is such a good anime, though.
Yeah, that's a great anime. They don't have. Thankfully, they don't have any age disparities in that one, but that's a great one. I'm not caught up yet, but yeah, no, that's a really good one. I didn't get a chance to pull the stats on this, but I would love to know if those anime with those relationships in it, did it have any sway or influence over the youth in Japan in seeking relationships with older adults? You know what I mean? Considering the age of consent is so low, and it's not like America where like the two people have to be the same age. You know what I mean? You just have to be 13 to consent to sex with a few stipulations, or at least, like I said, federally, 13. In certain areas, you better be at least 16.
Kimi ni Todoki.
That
one.
Okay.
I'm going to put it in the chat.
I don't know what that is.
It is a very notorious love story. It's not crazy or anything. The girl.
Is that the one with the girl looks like the girl from The Ring?
Yeah. Her. And she's literally just like, I just want some friends, but I got a boyfriend out of it too. Great.
Right. Yeah. Like, I like that one. That one's kind of sweet. That's a bit of an older one. That was pretty good.
That's what I said. It's like, that's during the transition I personally feel of how we are not getting as much as I feel.
Yeah.
Now, the brother-sister shit.
You got some of the, I'm saying, you got some problematic ones that's through there. I wonder, like, the few artists that do depict those type of relationships, like the ones that we talked about, where you have them egregiously different, like Rika and her teacher.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's going to make them second guess creating stories like that in the future. I wonder if that's going to make them, like, are they going to feel like they're going to get backlash, or are they going to get any type of, anything happen to them, or they not make sales, or they get, quote unquote, I don't know if they get dragged for filth or canceled in Japan for creating stories like that. I'm not real sure how much of an influence that'll go across the board, but I wish I could have time to really, really pull it. But I'm kind of curious, like, is that gonna, or is it gonna be like, you know how it is, like sometimes here in America where there'll be like, oh, well, that's stifling my creative influence because I'm trying to tell a story with a point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wonder if anybody's gonna cry foul like that.
I think if they continue forward, it will be an eventual foul.
I got you. So here's my other question. Will this shift start to affect, or will it affect Japanese's view on these types of relationships? Or is it now starting to be seen, particularly referring back to the BBC article, is it seen as pandering to the West? Because they only decided to consider it after the Western backlash. So I wonder if it's going to be seen as you're only pandering to the Western audience, or is it going to change? Is it going to change the view that Japan has on relations? Like, that is concerning.
I hate to say it like this.
10-year-old is in this relationship with this person who is well over the age of 18. Yeah, excuse my little footies.
This is gonna be just raw. It's about the money. Okay. It's about the money. We're going to pander to the West on the stories that the West likes. because the West has bigger population than Japan, and over the years they have realized we want to consume what you have. We have the money
Right.
to consume what you have. They have taken they have taken mangas that have stopped distribution altogether and started redistributing them in English. For
Mm.
instance, you can now buy a English version of give it to me oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Not Haruhi. Haruhi. Or on Host Club.
Oh, okay,
That
okay,
had
okay.
stopped distribution years ago. And they have restarted distribution because there's such a love for that in the West. We need it in English now. So, if we keep complaining about some of the shit that they put out and how it's unacceptable to the Western culture, they're going to change because
Do
this.
you think? Do you think? Do you think an artist, a Japanese artist, is going to be like, no, y'all don't get to control us and with the story that I want to say
That's going to be on
from
a
way over there?
That's gonna be on an individual basis. It's
Oh
gonna
yeah,
be yeah, it's gonna be on an individual.
yeah,
You'll
I
have
can agree with
the
that.
you'll have the ones that are strictly like this is the story I've told, and if it
Right.
sells, and if it doesn't, it doesn't, and then you'll be
I'm not
like,
depicting it that way. I'm depicting it as romantic. This is sweet. This
right,
is that's how they that's how the articles were about Rika and her teacher. They were like, well, it's seen as sweet. It's seen as, romantic. It's not leaning onto
right,
the sexual aspect yet and blah 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 blah.
but at the
As
end,
opposed to saying, no, you have a predator who has preyed on a child, and you are painting it as if it's to consenting older adults or somebody in his age range
right, and
as a loving relationship. How is that not encouraging? Particularly, like you said, okay, so we're showing this to 13-year-olds in the West. How are they not, well, 10-year-olds in the West, they'll read it because that was an anime or a manga for young girls. We're not talking about Olivia's age. We're talking about
yeah,
younger
it
because
was
yeah, so they're saying, oh, so it's okay if I have a teacher on a crush on Mr. Smith because Mr. Smith can love me
Mr.
one day
Smith
because he
will
loves
take
Rika.
good care of me.
I'm being extreme. Don't get me wrong. I'm being extreme, y'all. I'm just using an extreme, but I can't say that that's not how a kid, because kid would think. I was 10. I had crushes on people.
right.
So yeah, no.
No, and
Uh,
it's like I said,
like I
it's
said,
going to
people take
come
time for
down.
society to see it's wrong. Cause right now it's reactionary and about the money because they're only changing because others are uncomfortable, not because they think it's wrong. Correct. That's where my thing is. You're only doing it because you're trying to keep your pockets lined till you get to the point where I'm so rich I don't care and I'm gonna go back and do the stories that I want. I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't see anything wrong with it because I'm not saying that, but I mean, if they're in a relationship, it is what it
Yeah,
is.
no, it's
Like
gonna
particularly this one story that I think I was reading about this anime, and it might be the my wife as a high schooler, where their thing is, oh, they won't consummate their marriage until she hits a legal age, but the husband who is older, he pressures her to just break it all the time. So now not only did you marry someone underage, but now you're pressuring a kid to go ahead and sleep with you. I don't see how that's not problematic. But yeah, I kind of will agree with you, Tiny. It's one of those things
it
where
is
yeah,
reactionary.
well, I'm only doing it because y'all are getting at me, and that might affect my pockets. Because I guess I'm not really sure. I didn't pull the stats yet. I guess the big money
Oh, I got
in the
some
West.
numbers if you want.
Right. Well, yeah, yeah, good me
Not
because that's
solid,
the
but like I have went over
bigger.
this before with somebody else was asking about it, like why are manga now so prevalent in the United States? Over the
Right,
past 10 years, the consumption of Europe, English speaking countries asking for
right.
English written mangas, Europe, America, Canada, so on and so forth, there is a over 300% sales in the past 10 years. We have 4 times, 5 times the population of Japan, United States.
Yeah.
The all
And not saying that everybody in, because again, when you think in terms of statistics, we're talking demographics, we're talking about age, age range. There's a number of things that have to be put in. So take this at the base minimum. We don't have numbers. Take it at the base minimum.
Right.
If we're saying out of the how many billions of people that are in the United States? How many mil? Well, I'm sorry, it might not be. It might be one.
How many people in the?
Because I know there's over 7 billion in the world, but how many specifically?
331.9 million.
Okay, so 330.9 million. Okay, so out of the millions of individuals here in the United States, not counting all,
125.7 million in Japan, 3 times as much.
So not counting all of English speaking, but just particularly United States. So you're saying that however the percentage of consumers of manga and anime, just out of that how many of that number are the consumers? I guess what we're essentially saying is their sway is enough to say, hey, we're consuming this media and we got some notes.
Yeah. And
some of this stuff is a little
the
problem.
Prime example that I have found that how the United States has swayed Japanese and their how they distribute to us is Final Fantasy 16. Remember I told you the script for Final Fantasy 16 was written in English and then translated to Japanese.
Well, no, that wasn't hidden to the point. They came out and told you.
Oh yeah, no, they came out and told you.
It was based on
but the money's so good.
Influence from Game of Thrones.
Right.
They specifically made that to target us. That wasn't hidden. They literally said,
I'm not saying it wasn't hidden.
It makes sense,
but
that they would say it was in English first and then particularly because Game of Thrones.
Yeah, and what they said was, and it wasn't hidden. I'm not saying it was hidden or anything. What I'm saying is,
I think you're taking it out. I'm not saying that. Oh no, it was like. Oh no, it was like a thing. No. What I mean is, it was out the gate. This is specifically targeted to Westerners.
Yes, and
they knew their audience wasn't Japanese per se,
and they knew because that's where the money was coming. After 15 and how many people who are on 14 online and significant Western audience, they said, okay, so this game is going to be for y'all because y'all are where the money is at. And it is what it is.
Well, in regards to specifically saying that we don't need any help with adults being attracted to children here, so we don't need that media here. Yeah, I can say that that's 100% a good thing if that makes them say,
yeah,
clean that up.
Because like Tiny said, maybe some will reflect like, okay, well, since I'm not getting paid because it seems to be a problem, maybe it is a problem.
Yeah, okay, because I've said this before in a prior podcast, where regardless of where you have the age of consent, it doesn't change scientifically or physiological of the brain. It does not change that. So if we're saying across the board, as a human being, it doesn't matter where your geography is, your race, your gender or sex. If we're saying the human brain does not reach full development with that prefrontal cortex until about the age of 25. They did not say, oh no, and that's a whole nother issue there about the sexualization of different races, particularly Black girls. They didn't say, oh no, well, if you happen to be Black, your prefrontal cortex develops at 15, so you can be considered a full functioning adult. If you happen to be Japanese, your prefrontal cortex is fully developed by 13, so it's fine. That's where my issues are coming from here.
Right.
It did not there isn't any boundaries. We're talking about the human brain as it's been studied. What my issues are, why are we continuously pushing the issue of consent when it comes to sex with minor children or with minor people in any demographic? Why was it ever acceptable now that we've gotten older, or to continue to make content or continue to keep pushing the boundary with people? And I say people because I mean all of them across the board who we know by scientifically, biologically, my phone, biologically can't make rational decisions when it comes to that, as an adult should be able to make by that point in time. It should make them reflect and say, okay, so why do we? That's why I agree with Tiny's earlier statement, where I think to me it just seems so much more sinister
Oh,
to put these quote unquote fully developed brained adults with these underdeveloped people. I know my cutting up, y'all. Sorry, I thought I had it a moment ago. With these underdeveloped people, I should probably get it instead of looking at it. Um, right, these dogs on Clorox just going ham.
well, no,
Um,
it's. She's absolutely right. It does feel sinister, and it feels like there's always constant plotting on a young girl
right.
or a
Like in
younger
Japan, like
chick.
but the thing is, as long as it's portrayed as romantic,
It's
what's the problem?
okay.
Like it, how is that better?
And it's not like this whole frontal cortex thing is like some fresh new news. Like, I
No, it's
literally
not.
had a biology teacher back in the gap talk about how we shouldn't even be going to school until our whole entire brain wakes up, which is around like 9 o'clock in the morning. She was very adamant
Yeah,
on
like there's good studies based on
there's
how
not
yeah your
no
brain functions.
bullshit studies,
Yeah,
bruh. So
right.
I'm not understanding how that isn't okay, slightly political again. Don't understand how that is not committed to law when science has proven the facts, but I
Correct.
don't know what else to say at that
How is it
sentence.
not when you look at this particularly now that if we're bringing continues with age in this, I wish I had a pool that the largest age demographic or consumers of anime and manga and its influence when
Jesus
you
Christ.
consume stories like this. You know what I
Right.
mean? So I like for here's an example. I knew it was a problem when I was in high school, middle school, high school, watching Dawson's Creek. If y'all, those of y'all who remember Dawson's Creek, and you remember Pacey, fine as wine, Joshua, they got to play Pacey.
I
But
don't know
anyway,
who these people
Pacey
are.
well, had a very sexual relationship with his teacher.
And that's what Tiny just put that in there with Pretty Little Liars.
Correct. Well, yeah, because Pretty Little Liars would be the current generation. My generation was Dawson's Creek. Like that was he was in a heated sexual relationship with his teacher. I knew it was wrong then, but was it not juicy when I was in high school? Of course. Because here's this student meeting up after school or after class with this whole grown ass woman and them talking about how they got down. You can't keep coming here, Pacey. Blah, blah, blah. And he was like the bad boy, and he had all this swagger. And Pacey was always portrayed as, being just a little too grown for his age. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
Lord.
So it's like when you have stuff like that, me being the consumer, it's like,
No, they
but
do slip
I'm
that shit in
also
there.
not a man. So that that's what I'm saying. I want to know, or I would love to know, like that when you're touting this to kids, whether in Japan or in the West, why did it take the Westerners to start saying, "Hey, yo, problem.
Yeah.
You can't have no elementary student out here getting engaged to her grown ass teacher. You can't do stuff like that. We can't have movies like that. Like, I don't care how sweet it is. with this grown ass man marrying this 14-year-old and she pregnant by 16.
And the thing is, like, a lot of this is
Correct. And we just went, oh, that's so sweet.
right.
I want their love. Come on,
No.
man.
And how do I put this?
But I
Like,
can't fault us if we were the same age as the kids that they was preying on. You see what I mean?
right. And that's why it's like subliminally this stuff has passed across our conveyor belt of knowledge throughout our whole entire life. Like my mother literally 4 years younger than my real father. She was 16, he was 20 when they had to get an abortion. And I'm just like, what the fuck happened here? This is a 20-year-old man, Ma. And she's
Well,
like,
you can't fault the 16-year-old.
You know what she told me? I do like them older.
She's 16.
And not
I,
like it
when
still
I was
didn't
16, I
stop.
didn't have a boyfriend, but I was like, I just like an older man because they're more mature.
Right, that's what she would say. That's what she
And
told
remember
me.
what they used to tell the girls? Girls mature faster than boys.
Right.
But it makes sense, young girl, that you would want this older man because it evens itself out.
How old is our dad and mom apart, Tiny? 12 years now? Fucking 12 years? Shelly is 12 years younger than your dad? My stepdad? Like, that's the shit I'm talking about. Like, why is... I'm calling you out. I already said how.
Right.
Yeah, 12 fucking years.
Right. But remember, that
that's
was
what
that's what they sold us back then.
Yeah.
We were mature. Women were more mature. So, and now that I think about it, now that I said that out loud, because that's the first time I said that out loud in years. Was that not setting us up? Was that not indoctrination to young girls to go ahead and be accepting of an older relationship? Because we were all told that girls mature faster than boys. Biologically,
my brain
mature
is
faster
moving.
than boys. We mature faster than boys. They kept saying it. They kept saying it. They kept saying it. Were they not collectively grooming us as girls? Y'all can call it a reach if y'all want to.
No, you're not. Because now I'm thinking about other
But
things
was they
on
not
how...
collectively grooming us as young girls to go ahead and be okay with an older relationship?
Now that you've said that, my brain is on a roll. I also feel that because we were girls, and you didn't grow up with brothers.
No.
We were already sent to take care of the household because that is...
Right. That was our role.
That was our role. We were supposed to be nurturing. Like, Kevin...
unfortunate thing to be born with a vagina. This is what you do.
Right. Kevin is 4 years older than me, my older brother, who still literally took care of him and Troy, who's 11 months younger than me, all the time. I made the meals at 9, 10 years old. I made sure the chicken was out before Shelly came home and beat our ass. I made sure that we had food or we made whatever. And I had a 4-year-old older brother in the house with me that didn't do none of that shit.
Right, like, no, because he was the boy.
Even to this day, the expectation of me taking care of shit in my family, it falls to me. Right. And it fell, as I think about this now, my grandmother had like 10 children, or what? It's not 10 children. My great-grandmother had 10 children. And the only people I see of her 10 children who are still alive, my grandmother, are the women.
It is extreme. Not I'm sorry, Anna.
Oh no, you're good.
Yeah, no, it is gross. And now that because think about the shit they used to say to us.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's subliminal.
Yeah.
We were literally trained to think like this from a young age.
We were trained to take care of the house, because that's what I was saying. Mary Jane takes care of the family right now with her older sister. There are still boys alive who are older than them.
Right.
But they take care of the shit.
It fell on the girl child.
And now it's falling on my mom and her cousin Melissa. And there are still their cousins who are all on that line. There's still male cousins who are older than them. None of them are taking that charge. And how it falls to me with my 4 siblings, if shit pops off, Shelly's not calling Hopi, sorry. Shelly's not calling Kevin. Shelly's not calling Ethan. Shelly's going to call me.
But that's more of an older sibling thing right there, even though you're not the older sibling.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what they still bring to you, because I am the oldest girl. They still bring that shit to you. Because that's your responsibility. You're more mature. You can handle these types of situations. And I think that's where you're getting at.
Correct, right. Yeah, like, because, okay, perfect example.
Right.
Perfect example. Who did they vilify? They just had to apologize to this girl. Because Chrissy Teigen and them had to apologize to this girl. The guy married her, or he came onto her. Celebrities, too. Tiny can back me up. She might know. She was 15. And they drugged this girl from here to Timbuktu. Oh, you knew what you did. Because how often did we hear it? How often do we hear it? What were you wearing?
Yeah.
What did you have on? You seduced him.
Right. I'll tell you now.
You did this at the ripe old age of 14, 15 years old. You swayed the older guy to act in the decent way to be. I'll circle it back to our current conversation. The description they gave for Rika, the elementary student, with her teacher, they said she is very mature for her age.
Of course.
Excuse me. She fixes his meals and she brings it to him. She is such a caregiver. Their description is not ours. Now put that. I want to say, Tiny, that's her, because Christy Teigen had to give that girl. Yeah, they had to issue her an apology because she was all through Twitter dogging this fit. And the girl kept saying at the time, because she gave her story, she was like, at the time, y'all had to keep in mind the context. I was only 15. I was only 15. She had to keep saying it. I was 15. So yeah, no.
I tell you like this.
You're absolutely right, right? We as girls, no matter how young you are, you get vilified.
Yeah. When I asked
never the man's fault.
Oh no. When I asked my father what would make him date someone 4 years younger than him who's 16, you know what his response was to me? Your mother came on to me. The 16-year-old came on to the 20-year-old.
And that's like that. What did Call say to